So yeah, before we get into things, I do have one thing to talk about.
Oh boy.
Probably for not that long. Which is that my computer nearly died and that was a problem. But other than that, I finally, managed to start watching a Kamen Rider series. Finally. After, years of seeing out of context funny, dumb moments. I feel like I wasn't disappointed.
That's good.
So yeah, I started watching Kamen Rider, Triple O, which is apparently pronounced O's, but, in my brain, I cannot unsee it as Kamen Rider OO. Because, of course. And yeah, yeah.
The place Adventure Time takes place in.
Yeah, Kamen Rider OO. So yeah, this is a weird one, cause the whole plot is that main character is just kind of a drifter. He's this traveling bum that just lives on basically nothing and just kind of goes from job to job. It's as he's working as a security guard for a museum, some random security guards try to burglarize the place and steal stuff, and they accidentally undo the seal that awakens the four dark evil alien lords or more of the crap. They're these weird beings called the Greeds, and it's they're basically Power Ranger villains. They're made of coins, but they solidify and look like monsters because, of course. And by monsters, I mean people in rubber suits.
Of course.
Of course. And it's four of them awaken, and they're immediately just attacked by the police and just, mowed down with guns that do nothing because they're freaking Super-Sentai villains. But it's worth knowing that it's point one, these things are just not affected by machine gun fire. Okay, we have our power scaling. Point two is that it's the four of them awaken, and there's a fifth one that didn't fully form. So it's just this weird floating hand that's just flying around. And it's there's a whole thing where the R's are trying to take it out, and it ends up having to side with the humans. So it goes to a main character. It's oh hey, I managed to steal these special metals, which are basically just coins. But he's just I managed to steal these core metals, use these to transform or we're both dead. You have to fight that thing. And he just points to this monster. It's yeah, do the thing. I should mention this, isn't one of the four greeds, this is one of their underlings they've created, basically.
Right.
So it's the big gimmick of the series is number one, coins. Coins are the big thing. Everything is based around coins. And number two is the main guy's powers are weirdly modular. Each coin correlates to a different type of animal. And he puts the 3 coins in. It's the head is a red area that's based on a hawk or whatever. The torso and upper body is a tiger, and the lower body is green, and it's supposed to be grasshopper powers.
Interesting.
So it's this weird combination of things, and it's he fights the thing, doesn't quite work because he's an idiot, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And the hand is alright, well, try this one. And they swap out the middle metal for, a mantis one. And it just changes the, just torso part of the outfit to be green and gives them different weaponry. It's immediately starts fighting way better. And in my mind, it's oh, alright, I guess Mantis is just stronger. Turns out, no. Turns out the bigger gimmick is that, like, each type of metal is its own type of, like, class. Like, you know, there's, like, sea life, there's, like, you know, like, birds and stuff, there's, like, beasts, insects, that type of thing. And if you match the metal types, then they become stronger, but they drain the user more.
So we're kind of working on Metabots rules.
Kind of. And yeah, of course, eventually they get, like, 3 green mells for 3 insect types. It's like, they make a very specific point about, like, okay, you use this, you're gonna unlock unfathomable power, but I don't know if you'll survive this crap. You wanna do this? And it's like, well, I guess we gotta. So, any guesses on what the unfathomable power looks like in this series?
I don't know, does he turn into a big bug?
Turns out, what this means is they put in the 3 bug mells, he gets the bug parts or whatever, which of course are just like, you know, different like parts of a Super-Sentai outfit.
Right.
And like, he immediately clones himself into like 10 copies of himself, and they all just start like fighting crap at the same time.
Alright.
This leads to a moment where it's like, the monster of the episode is a bunch of different fish creatures that have amassed together into a giant monster. And all 10 of him and his clones, like, just mass bicycle kick their way into its mouth and beat the crap out of it from the inside.
Nice.
So yeah, Kamen Rider Oo's been kind of crazy so far, also sup Flo. But yeah, so far, like it pretty well. This show has a lot of like really weird, crazy moments. Like, I should mention, when the greeds are first unveiled, like, when they're first revealed and stuff, and they're doing things, it's just constantly cutting back to this evil businessman and his evil business tower, because the real theme of the series is greed and capitalism for this part.
Of course.
And he's, like, this Japanese man that's singing in, like, English, like, a high-class, like, remix of Happy Birthday with, like, instrumentation and stuff. And he's just seeing this, like, solemnly as, like, yo, the, like, Super Sentai villains are just going around blowing up cars and shit. And he's, like, just drawing icing on a cake, and he's like, happy birthday, dear Greedo. And it's like, you see he writes greed, and he has one too many E's in it.
No.
Yes. And it's like, I still don't know if that's supposed to be the official spelling of the villain's name, or if they just fucked up.
Probably the latter.
Probably I'm willing to bet the former because Japan, but also, how would I know, right? How would you ever know? It's like, this is the secret villain of the part. I haven't even gone to the villain of the show. This is Kamen Rider OOO, which is Kamen Rider OOOS. Which is probably meant to be pronounced O's, but I just keep calling it Ooze to be a jerk. He's like, freaking President Cake Baker is like, it's this whole deal where he's like, yo, he's like helping out the heroes every now and then, and he's like, oh yeah, give me the coins you collect from the monsters, I'll like give you, you know, equipment and stuff. It's, like, super obvious that he wants this for nefarious means, and the main guy's like, yeah, okay, that seems fair.
Sounds about right.
Sure, why not? There's just these random scenes where I'll just cut back to him, and he's just telling a random, like, evil rant about capitalism or something. And he's like, Is this weird ramble where he's like, oh yeah, just think of it, if you collect the Mells, their power is, like, astounding. And if you gather the core Mells, your power might even become infinite. And he, like, reaches over with his little, like, frosting, like, tube, and just draws an infinity symbol on, like, a glass table. And he's like, oh, but I wonder, what is beyond infinite? And he draws a circle next to the infinity symbol, so it's OOO.
No.
And he's like, happy birthday, O's. And that's why it is the way it is. Oh, man. But yeah, there's a lot of crazy bullcrap. Like, one of the more fun aspects is that it's like, oh yeah, the main character is just teaming up with the sentient floating hand of a former Sentai villain. And he's just like, oh, alright, I'm sure you want to help me and stuff. And the hand is like, no, we have to, like, just let these monsters kill people so they'll gain more medals, and then we can get the Mells when they're at their strongest. And it's like this whole moral thing where the main guy's like, well, we can't let monsters just kill people. And the hand is like, yeah, but think of the medals, though. We need to get all those coins.
Need more power.
Yeah, the hand's goal is literally that it's like, if he collects enough coins, he can use them to remake his body and return to his former form. So there's like this fun dynamic where it's like, he's straight up just acting like a Sentai villain, like he's just one of the bad guys. But it's like he has to rely on the hero, so the, like, main character actually has some sway in things, and he's like, okay, well, like, I'm not going to help you unless you promise we can, like, save people and stuff. And he's like, okay, fine, just do the thing. And they have a lot of, like, back and forth about it, yeah. And here's the thing. Because animating a floating sentient hand is kind of expensive, they have a very morally ambiguous workaround. Which is that, yeah, in one of the first fights, one of the monsters just, like, attacks a police squad and just, like, injures a cop. And the main guy's like, oh, okay, well, we have to get him to a hospital right away, right? Or he might die or something. And the hand somehow manages to, like, stick himself onto his arm and possess his body.
I see.
So it's just like, it's just this cop, but he's just got this big Super Sentai villain hand, as in he's just wearing the glove.
Hey, whatever works, right?
Yeah, and for some reason, purely because of Japanese, like, anime logic, this also means his hair is suddenly blonde and styled like an evil pretty boy character. And this is, like, a consistent thing. There are multiple points where, like, the hand detaches, or they take the evil hand off, and you see him fall to the ground and his hair returns back to normal. And they stick the hand back on and it goes back to the blonde, like, pretty boy look. He just goes back to being an edgelord.
Nice.
So yeah, early on the main guy's like, okay, well, of course you can't just steal someone's body, that's wrong. And of course the hand's like, alright, but, I'm the only thing keeping him alive, so, if I come off, the hospital isn't going to save him in time, he'll just die. So they just have to, like, work with it. It's like lots of layers to this, like, duo, lots of gists.
I mean, sounds like sound logic to me, unless he's just lying to him.
Yeah, it seems like he's being honest. Like, Stramp has a point where he's like, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll keep him alive, you know? Like, yeah, ass have to, like, eat food and stuff, right? Yeah, that's how humans work. And he's just like buying popsicles and stuff, and the main guy is like, oh, but yo, you can't just do this is wrong. And he's like, oh, I'd eat like this, or I could just eat like this. And he just shoves the popsicle in the hand and just like absorbs it all weird, and the main guy's like, yeah, maybe don't. And he's like, yeah, if I'm gonna eat, I might as well enjoy it.
I mean, the real problem is that eating nothing but popsicles isn't going to, sustain you.
Man. There's, like, a point where, you know, the hand is just alone with his body and stuff, and he just looks over and sees some kids eating popsicles, and he just detaches from the body and leaves it on a park bench so he can fly around and sneak up and steal the popsicles from the children just to, like, bring them back to his main body and eat them.
Great.
This show is nuts. Oh man. And of course it's like, you know, that's the art thing, cause it's like they're fighting the like minions of the greed, and they have a whole lot of like fun with it. Cause it's like how this works is that it's like, alright, one of the greed Super Sentai villains just like walks up to a guy, and they're like, oh, this person has a lot of human desire in them. A lot of greed, you might say. Oh, we can use this. So they, like, take one of the coins from their body, one of the cell coins they're called, or cell metals, and it forms a coin slot on your head that they put the coin into. And that either makes you form or, like, makes you possessed by, like, one of their minions, which is called, I kid you not, a yummy.
Huh.
And this thing just sort of, like, acts out their human desires while enhancing their, like, greed and stuff, until it's satisfied to the point that it, like, forms coins inside of itself, which eventually makes it transform into an actual, like, monster that's a problem. And then you have to kill it to get the coins.
Of course.
And it's like, the villains are doing this because, yo, the whole thing is that it's like, oh, well, yo, the hand just sort of stole a bunch of their like, Cormels, right? He, like, stole their, like, you know, main coins. And it turns out that without those, they'll eventually just lose their cell coins and just die. Like, they'll destabilize. So they're like, okay, well, until we get our Cormels back, we have to, like, you know, keep our coins repopulated so we don't just fall apart. So that's why we're doing this whole thing. We're like, alright, we just need to turn people into monsters to harvest their desires so we can make more coins, so that we can live longer, so that we can eventually just beat O's and get our stuff back. And meanwhile, President Baker is just like, oh, hey, you know, those core metal things and those coins sound really interesting. You should give me all of those instead. How about it, yo? I give you motorcycles and weird little robots, and you give me 70% of everything you gain. It's like, then to a point where it's like, alright, well, I mean, we can't really refuse that offer because we kind of need gear to fight, so, sure. Why not? Well, it's really great, because it comes to a head of this big negotiation scene, where it's like, it's the fight against the fish monsters, I believe, yeah, where it's like all the weird fish that are just like, you know, swarming out of a building. And, you know, the main guy's like, okay, well, yeah, I'll just, like, you know, use the bike. So it's like, how you do that is there's these various vending machines just around town where if you put one of the cell mells in it, you know, one of the coins, then it'll just turn to a motorcycle, or you can, like, you know, get a little can of it that turns into a little, like, robot or whatever, or just all kinds of, like, you know, weird little things. So he's like, okay, yeah, and he puts the coin in, and he hits the button. And it's like, I should go back a bit, I'm not explaining this well. He's like, oh yeah, I need a bike right now. He's like, alright, I need a bike. Meanwhile, the hand is, like, in negotiations with President Cake Baker. President Happy Birthday. And, you know, the hand is like, alright, well, we'll help you, but there's no way we're gonna use 70%. And he's like, you know, in fact, it would really make the most sense if I just killed you right now. And the president's like, okay, but are you sure you want to do that? He just turns around a laptop where it just shows the main guy, and he puts the coin in the machine, hits the button, nothing, doesn't work. And he's like, oh, well, crap, what's going on? He's like banging on, he's like trying to figure it out, he's putting more coins in. You know, and the hand is like, no, I'm not doing 70%. The president's like, oh, you sure? It doesn't seem like your friend is doing that well, is he? And, you know, if he can't fight monsters, you don't get anything at all, huh? And it just keeps coming back to him, just getting more and more desperate to get this bike to work. There's a point where he just knocks the vending machine over, and he just gets up on the side of it to, like, ride it, and he's, like, banging it. He's like, okay, and he just puts his hands on, he's like, transform, and he's like, man, I knew that wouldn't work. You know, and the hand is eventually like, okay, fine, I'll negotiate. Just, like, wills him down to, like, 60%. And he's like, alright, fine, I'll sell for 60. And the president just shakes on it and just, you know, just snaps his fingers, like, the thing transforms, everything works again. And he's like, oh yeah, to celebrate. And he just takes out a box with, like, a cake in it. And it says, congrats, 60%. Implying he knew all along. And the hand is like, ah, dang it. Well, I guess we have to. So that's been fun so far. I'll probably put this up as its own video or whatever. Screw it, that'd probably be, yeah. But yeah, friggin' Kamen Rider OOO, so far pretty good. Definitely worth checking out if you can find it. It's really hard to freaking find. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Find it somewhere.
Yeah. I somehow managed to find it, but the place I went to is missing episode 7, and that's gonna be a problem. So, yeah, it might take me a bit to figure that one out. So, yeah. Also, I do want to mention, like, yeah, main character being just, like, a goofy, dumb drifter hobo is just, like, a lot of fun. Like, he's weirdly likable. He's just kind of, like, go around like, you know what, like, I'm not a smart guy. All I know is I have to save people if I can, and yeah, that's all I really want to live by. You know, he's just kind of going about his life. You know, he's got, like, just a handful of change and a spare pair of underwear. And he's like, you know what, as long as I've got this pair of underwear and this spare handful of money, I'm good. Yeah, as long as I got this, I'm solid.
Yeah. Okay, he's the good guy because he doesn't have money, and the bad guys have money.
Yeah, exactly. There's, like, a lot of whole, like, things where they're, like, they stop, and they're like, you know what, we should just have a little monologue about capitalism. We need to, like, stop and be like, you know what, I don't think all greed is bad, you know, I think human desire is good sometimes, it's just, you know, you gotta keep it under control. And he's like, yeah, nothing wrong with wanting money, money's good, it gets you things, that's nice. Oh man, so that'll be fun as it goes on. Like, It would be really funny if the, like, solution to everything is, like, Marxism or some crap. We have to share the coins. But yeah. So yeah, I feel like I've said about as much as I really need to about that, so...